Good Friday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Certain Corn Herbicide. Unleash residual power early to allow for pre- or post-application to attack weeds at their weakest. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg reporting. Under mostly cloudy skies, I have 50 degrees on the barn thermometer right now, a little light rain overnight, and it looks like the winds are supposed to be picking up, giving it a much cooler feel today than we had yesterday. This quick calendar reminder, next week is Commodity Classic, and farmers from all across the country will be convening in San Antonio, Texas. The Ohio AgNet will be there as well, as Ty, myself, and Joe Everett will all be heading down south to bring you the latest from Ohio's growers and what's going on at the trade show. On Thursday, we'll be broadcasting thanks to Cropland. And on Friday, our broadcast brought to you by Meristem Crop Performance. Let's catch up now with Ty Higgins as he brings us an update from Ohio Farm Bureau's recent Ag Day at the Capitol and a discussion held about land use management.
A large contingent of Ohio Farm Bureau members gathered at the Ohio State House in Columbus earlier this week for the organization's annual Ag Day at the Capitol, meeting one-on-one with state legislators and staff to discuss policy priorities impacting Ohio's farms and rural communities. According to Ohio Farm Bureau's Senior Director of State and National Policy, Brad Bales, the biggest topic of discussion for the day was land use management.
That covers a bunch of areas, whether it's energy, it means a lot for economic development and how we coexist with that. It means a lot for housing. It covers the spectrum on this issue. But what we really need to be talking to legislators about is these lands, once they go offline, will never come back. And for us to be able to do our business, conduct our business, which means putting food on people's tables, we need to be able to have that resource available. The more we push economic development, the more we push housing, the more we push energy, the more we're pushing data centers. Keep in mind, we're taking land out of production.
Ag Day attendees also heard from American Farm Bureau Vice President of Public Policy and Economic Analysis John Newton, Ohio Farm Bureau President Bill Patterson, and Ohio Farm Bureau Executive Vice President Adam Sharp. Get a video recap of Ag Day at the Capitol on our website, ohioagnet.com. I'm Ty Higgins reporting.
Thanks, Ty. Well, do you have any equipment on your farm that runs off of propane? If so, there may be an opportunity to get some cash back. Our own Joe Everett has this update.
Ohio farmers have the chance to put some money back in their pocket, up to $10,000 through the Propane Farm Research Program. The program, backed by PERC and promoted by the Ohio Propane Gas Association, helps offset the cost of propane-powered ag equipment. Farmers can receive up to 25% of the purchase price per item, with funding available on as many as 6 units per farm each year. Eligible equipment includes propane-powered irrigation engines, generators, water heating systems, livestock and greenhouse heaters, and even poultry house sanitation units. Incentives range from dollars per kilowatt on generators to up to $2,000 per heating or sanitation system. In return, participating farmers provide real-world performance data to help improve efficiency and expand cleaner energy use in agriculture. To qualify, producers must be at least 18, operate a U.S. farm or agribusiness, and be a propane customer in good standing. Its design is to give Ohio farmers practical, reliable tools with helping move operations towards more efficient energy solutions. To learn more, you can find this full article today at ohioagnet.com. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett reporting.
Thanks, Joe. Well, it's time to take a look now at that Friday morning weather forecast. Today's weather brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com.
Cold air blasting into Ohio today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. West winds behind the frontal boundary that passed through late yesterday and last night. Temperatures are dropping here. I think we see on again, off again cloud cover, but really not much of any significant precipitation today. Strong west winds in here tomorrow as well, keeping us chilly, but the winds turn north then for later Saturday afternoon and evening, right on through Sunday and Monday. That's when we can see lake effect coming off of all of the Great Lakes, putting cloud cover down in Ohio, and I think we have to allow for some light snow over the northern half to northern third of the state for Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and into early Monday. Then we see high pressure give us some sunshine back for Tuesday, but it's still quite chilly. Warming Wednesday, that warmth brings a little bit of light rain for Wednesday night into early Thursday, up to half an inch across 60% of the state. Behind it, we are dry all the way through the following Wednesday, but temperatures are going to swing wildly through that period. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Well, a quick announcement. The Ohio Forestry Association Foundation is announcing they're now accepting applications for their annual E.B. Miller Memorial Scholarship. Now, this scholarship is offered to Ohio high school graduates pursuing an education at any approved university, college, junior college, or technical university offering a forestry resource curriculum. The deadline to apply is coming up on April the 15th. A selection of grant recipients will be made by the Scholarship Committee of the Ohio Forestry Association Foundation, and the winners will be announced in June. You can visit their website, that is ohioforest.org/page/scholarship, for more information and to apply. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on the Ohio AgNet after this.
Ohio farmers are excited about the approval of Striax dicamba herbicide for in-crop soybean use. For a limited time, B&B AgVantages in Conover, Ohio, are reopening cash discounts and financing on Asgrow soybeans. This is a fantastic opportunity to return to the proven yield performance of Asgrow soybeans and the strong weed control system of the XtendFlex system. Orders must be placed and paid for by March 13th. Contact B&B AgVantages for details at 937-368-3880.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. Well, anybody that follows the beef or dairy industry knows that beef on dairy has had a huge impact in recent years. Joel Panorwood has this update.
Joel Panorwood here for the Ohio AgNet. Talking dairy today with Corey Geiger, lead dairy economist with CoBank. So glad to have him here joining us in this virtual call as we're talking a variety of topics, but specifically beef on dairy, how the dairy replacement formula has changed, or at least the pieces of the puzzle as far as profitability on the farm goes. And Corey, what led to us talking was you recently spoke to the good folks at the Ohio Dairy Producers Association meeting, gave a nice update there. Let's kind of start there. What did you talk to dairymen there about, and what do we know about the changing landscape in dairy?
Well, the first thing is dairy is dynamic and growing. It's an $80 billion category in grocery and convenience stores, and that's up 3.2% over the past year. And we have historic plant investment taking place throughout American agriculture and U.S. dairy specifically. And that $12 billion is a lot of cheese assets, a lot of yogurt assets. One of the new kids on the block that was an old kid on the block, but a reinvigorated one. We're seeing quite a bit of movement in cottage cheese, of course, being protein cheese. And then a category that's just exploding, ready-to-drink dairy nutritionals. Think dairy protein shakes of 20, 30, and 40 grams. The category has grown from 4.7 billion 5 years ago to over $8 billion. That's 71% growth in the last 5 years. So a lot of good things taking place on dairy, including the boom in beef protein and beef on dairy.
Specifically there, how are dairymen utilizing that? And when you say booming, take us back in the last few years. How has that evolved? Where are we today, and where could that go down the road?
So, 5 years ago, pretty average prices. That would have been prices and returns that we would have seen for a long time, that cull cows and baby calves, especially bull calves, were bringing about $1 to $1.50 on a per hundredweight basis. So that's what they were contributing to income if you measured it on milk, which is the way dairy farmers think. Then everything began to change about 4 years ago, and farmers began doubling down on using beef semen on their dairy cows. In fact, if you look at National Association of Animal Breeders, there's 3 semen categories. Conventional dairy, random XY, random make a bull calf, heifer calf, has dropped from 11.5 to 6 million units. Gender sorted semen to make a planned dairy heifer calf, sales have moved from 7 million to nearly 10 million units. And then the beef on dairy category, There were 9.7 million units of beef semen sold last year. 7.9 million, or 80% of it, was sold to U.S. dairy farmers as they're capitalizing on those returns. New data here right now, the Lancaster auction markets in Pennsylvania, beef on dairy calves have pushed past $1,500, and that's less than a week old. Big movement, big returns. The beef cow herd and the national beef herd is at the lowest level in 75 years. The U.S. U.S. human population has doubled in that time. So simple supply and demand equation. Beef is the best returns in agriculture right now.
That's Corey Geiger, lead dairy economist with CoBank, joining us here on the Ohio AgNet. You can find the full conversation where we dive deeper into the beef on dairy puzzle, as well as how the component market is greatly changing how milk is being produced and what the future looks like there. Again, the full video online at ohioagnet.com. I'm Joel Penorwood reporting.
And thanks, Joel. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
Thanks again for joining us on the Ohio AgNet. Well, today the USDA's February 1 cattle on feed report comes out, and it's not expected to make big headlines. If anything, it could be received as bullish if the pre-report estimates do hold true. The biggest outlier in this month's report will likely be the marketing data, which does not have a colossal effect on the market. It will likely show a double-digit decrease, though, in the number of cattle marketed, as packers have not been as aggressive in the cash market as prices are at all-time highs. Now, in a related story, if you've been paying attention to the news and the wildfires going on in Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma, literally hundreds of thousands of acres have burned up just in the past 3 days, and with that, the pastures and all the hay and feed that they need as well for all those cattle. Definitely a group of farmers and ranchers out there that could use our prayers, and from what I've seen on social media, a number of organizations that are starting those caravans delivering hay, feed, and supplies to those in need. Turning our attention now to Chicago, let's take a look at what's impacting the markets. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113.
Grain markets finished mixed on Thursday, setting up for a day on Friday here that could go any way. Probably the biggest stories in the marketplace yesterday had to do with USDA forecasts on 2026 acres. Corn acres were projected to be 94 million acres, soybeans 85. Total U.S. cropped acres falling 1.3 million to 224. I've heard this story, this song before. I believe if you're looking at cropping acres falling, you're also setting yourselves up for some stupid number to get put out later on in the year next year. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see what holds here. We also are going to be dealing with the World Outlook Board Forum, I believe, next week, putting out their rounds of numbers as well. Overall, the other stories in the marketplace, Argentina's soil moisture improving because of rain falling in that part of the world. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look at how your markets closed. Today's market recap brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Learn more online at seedconsultants.com. Well, March corn closed down 1 1/4 and May corn was down 1/2 cent. March soybeans closed up 7.5 cents while May beans were up 7 cents. March Kansas City wheat closed the day up 14.5 cents, while March Chicago wheat was up 12.5, and March Minneapolis wheat ended the day 8.5 cents higher. Turning now to the overnight markets, we find March corn trading up 1/2 penny at $4.26 1/4. May corn up 3/4 penny at $4.37, and corn for July of 26 up 1/2 penny at $4.45 a bushel. March soybeans trading up 1/2 penny at $11.41 1/2 cent. May beans are up 1/2 penny at $11.56 1/2 a bushel, and July 26 beans up 1/4 penny at $11.68 1/4 cent. Wheat for July, the 26 new crop down 1/4 penny at $5.74 1/4. Your September wheat down 3/4 penny at $5.85, and wheat for December down 1 penny at $6.02. Turning now to livestock, we finished the day with mostly positive numbers as February live cattle were up 90 cents, $247.50. April cattle closed 90 cents higher at $243.42 April lean hogs were up 90 cents for the day at $93.45, and make hogs closed 75 cents higher, $97.75. This is the Ohio AgNet.